The hype around the Air Jordan 4 military blue has passed, and because of that, I think it's the perfect time to talk about whether or not it's a sneaker worth buying. This latest pair is the truest retro in shape and color to the OG that we've ever gotten, and a lot of people believe the Air Jordan 4 military blue is sneaker of the year, or at least worthy of being in the conversation. But in today's sneaker landscape, when we see upwards of 200 plus releases a month, is it a good enough reason for you to spend your money on these? I bought this pair from the Nike sneakers app on release day, May 4th, and I wish I could say it was a no-brainer, but it wasn't. I really had to think about whether or not I needed to add this particular Air Jordan 4 to my collection. And that's coming from someone whose favorite silhouette is the Air Jordan 4. The retail price for these sneakers was $215, and there's no confirmed stock numbers, but the rumor is that Nike produced over 1 million pairs of military blue 4s. I can only speak for what I saw, and I saw a lot of got 'em screens on release day. I saw a lot of order confirmed. I saw a lot of ready for pickups. So it seems like this was a very easy to get pair if you wanted them. Even on the sneakers app and Nike.com, they sat for a couple of days. Now, I don't normally care about stock numbers in relationship to buying shoes, but I do think it matters sometimes. For example, if you're someone who limits the amount of money they spend on sneakers per month or per year, or if you're someone who limits the amount of shoes you buy, it's definitely possible that these were not a top priority and you decided to spend the money elsewhere and maybe circle back for these later. That might be why you're watching this video, to see if you need to circle back and pick these up at all. I mentioned earlier that this 2024 retro is the closest to the OG that Nike has ever given us, and I think this sneaker is the perfect example that the further we get away from 1989, the less those things matter. The generation that's coming up now will have little to no nostalgia when it comes to these older Jordan colorways. Case in point, the 2012 military blues is the preferred shade of blue. That lighter shade of blue is what most people love about this model. Myself included, I think that lighter blue and the white upper on the 2012 pair looks really good. It's one of those rare cases where an argument can be made that OG is not always better, but it really comes down to personal preference. And I think in the future, we'll see more of those very divided, split opinions when it comes to sneaker releases, specifically retros. The upper on this sneaker is not white. It's a light gray color that I've come to appreciate the longer I've looked at them. It also has a blue hue to it, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting gray, but not with the little dash of blue. In some of the first images I saw for these, I remember saying the shoe looked flat. A lot of the early images didn't do this colorway justice, and I think that also led to people feeling let down by this release. The midsole and the Nike Air branding on the back of the shoes are actually white, and it stands out nicely against the darker blue. The leather quality was a big concern around these, and that's the crazy thing about the internet, is that a couple of photos, a couple of video clips can go viral, and all of a sudden a release is trash. Nike did a terrible job, and I just feel like those takes and those opinions valid. Everyone's opinion is valid, but they were a little dramatic. Is the leather on these sneakers melt in my hands buttery? No. But how often does Nike give us that level of quality anyways? I'm not saying we should expect better from Nike, especially as the prices go up, but I think in terms of reviews, we need to be a bit more realistic. This Jordan 4 isn't any worser quality than some of the other recent Jordan releases. The leather is just fine, and Nike has been giving us just fine for years now. Now, as far as quality control, my pair does have a small crease, but that's the only real flaw I could find. If you want to count the widow's peak in the front of the shoe, you can count that as a flaw as well. I don't, just because it happens more often than not. I know some people had better luck and their pair was 100% crispy, and there's people who had worse luck, and that sucks. If you're thinking about buying these, I would suggest going in store, or if you're gonna buy them online, then use eBay, because then you'll be able to see photos and you can make sure that you get a crispy, good looking pair. I picked these up in a 5.5 men's. My true size is a 5.5 or a 6. These do run a bit snug, but not to the point where I think I needed to size up. Could I have gotten a 6? Yes, but the 5.5 isn't uncomfortable or tight by any means. That being said, Nike has made a lot of changes to the Air Jordan 4 between last year and this year, and I hope that they do get that sizing more consistent, because even though the sizing wasn't a problem for me, I do know you know, one other person, maybe two other people who said that these did not fit the way that they expected them to. I can't tell you if you should spend your money on the Air Jordan 4 Industrial Blue, but I can tell you that I'm happy to add these to the collection. It's a nice, calm colorway. The shade of blue is very specific, and it means I get to complete my set of OG Jordan 4 colorways. It's ticking a lot of boxes for me. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, show a small YouTuber some love. I really appreciate it. We talk sneakers, streetwear, and everything in between on this channel. So check out the other content. Right up there, you'll see my review for the Air Jordan 4 Reimagined. And down there, you'll see a playlist for a bunch of other sneaker reviews that I've done.